everyone, and welcome to Eternal Mooncast, the streaming show all about Sailor Moon fan theories. We cover everything from the prominent to the obscure in the Mooniverse. We are co-hosts Michi and Selene, and joining us tonight is the Geeky Seamstress. She's a craftsmanship-focused cosplayer, occasional commissioner, and graduate theater student. Since 2012, she's been using her background as a librarian to document her builds and provide resources to the cosplay community, including a comprehensive Sailor Moon Fuka tutorial. She loves talking shop with fellow creators and encouraging body positivity in cosplay. Welcome, the Geeky Seamstress.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, we're so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Before we start, as always, a quick Moonie disclaimer. We would like to remind everyone that these are just our personal opinions. We do not in any way represent Toei or the Sailor Moon intellectual property. We invite you to join us tonight as we stream live. Or, you know what, if you ever want to get into our Discord, join those discussions tonight. We delve into, could Sailor Jupiter have been meant to be an Outer Scout?
Our first Sailor Jupiter themed episode. I am so ready.
I will say that Sailor Jupiter is not my favorite. I'm so sorry. I am an Usagi person. I know.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
What's funny is I have several friends who are all like, Makoto. And I'm like, this is okay. But would I let Jupiter step on me? Absolutely. In a heartbeat.
Right out the gate.
But-
Right out the gate.
I don't mind telling people like Sailor Jupiter. You know why I never was connected with her? The color green was never my favorite color until I was a Slytherin. Because people always tried to put me in green. I'm like, I don't want to wear green. And then I was like, wait, I'm a Slytherin. I love green. I love emerald green.
Preferences change over the years. So I can understand that. Like, you would never know by looking at my hair in the room around us that I was very anti-pink for a very long time. So I get that.
Same. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's pink. I'm going to wear it.
Give me more pink. Barbie
Or like,
came out now.
God, that's
Smother
a
me
person
in
that carries the pink earth.
I was going to say, so that's just so why don't we all three, since Selene already went, I can go next. So my relationship with Jupiter has been interesting. So I know you can't tell because we're like online, but I'm actually really tall. I'm 5'9", which I know it can be considered tall, not tall. But I always got put as Jupiter in the inners because I was the tall girl. And what's funny is I am the worst cook on the planet. So I was like the worst Jupiter because I felt like I can't make Mako proud with these cooking skills. But I have always respected her place in the inners. But I'm also like, the more I've been researching for this episode, the more intriguing I found her. I think her most compelling performance was probably in the live action Sailor Moon to me, the PTSM version. I think that was one of the more interesting versions because like we got to see her as a little bit more of a tough guy, a little bit more of a badass. And I thought it was always really interesting. All right. And then Mindy, would you like to talk about your relationship with Jupiter?
In case it's not readily apparent, Jupiter is like best girl. I'm not gonna get up and show it off and everything, but I have multiple Sailor Moon tattoos. Like Sailor Moon in general, just as a series, is something that I have connected with since I was very young. Oh my gosh. So we never had cable growing up, but I did watch the 6 a.m. Runs of Sailor Moon and the original Deke dub way back in the day. Yeah.
Used to get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, so early. Just go sneak in the living room, make sure the TV was turned really far down so that no one else would wake up and hear me and be like, what are you doing?
I was allowed to be up at that time only because of Sailor Moon.
Just because of Sailor Moon. I do have a very interesting personal background with Sailor Moon, but we're going to curtail that like for later. But for me, Sailor Jupiter was very much the one I was into growing up. I was very much a tomboy, and I am also super tall. I'm 5'10".
Okay.
Yeah, like tall girls represent.
Tall people.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I always was just like, oh my gosh, she's so cool because she's tall and she's super strong, but also she's like, I'm gonna kick your ass and bake you a cake. So I was always just like, she's not afraid to be a girly girl, but, while also being being the tough guy. And so, yeah, she was always my favorite from that first episode where she's like, I'm going to beat up these bullies for you. And I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. You go, girl.
Love her.
Yeah.
Oh, no, and I forgot, actually, real quick, I just have to share a quick Sailor Moon memory. So one of my favorite Sailor Moon cosplay moments ever happened when I did cosplay Jupiter. It was at Walt Disney World. We had all of the inners and a Super Sailor Moon. And this was back in 24-hour day when you could wear costumes to the parks. And I'll never forget, we did the parade and every princess was just like waving, and then would see us. So it would be like, and then Meredith did this. And Mickey Mouse had the best reaction. He was like waving, and then he saw us, and he was like, and then he grabbed Minnie, and he's like, that. And then he did the in the name of the moon.
Oh,
it was
gosh,
like the greatest.
Love that.
I do have a soft spot for Jupiter because A+ theme park experience.
That is delightful. I love that.
All right, let's get into our girl for the night. So talk a little bit about Jupiter as a character. So let's establish her. So we know that she lives on her own. That we don't know. Do we know how long she's lived on her own? I don't think we ever get told.
I don't think so.
No, but she's like super independent. She comes in as a transfer student and she doesn't even get the uniform because she's so tall. And man, I felt her on that because I'm like, man, trying to find jeans as a kid and you get those like floods where like.
Because I think she's an emancipated adult, isn't she?
I think both her parents are dead.
That's why she can live on her own. Because the state pays for it.
Oh, really?
I think she's an emancipated adult, if I remember correctly.
We'll have to look it up. If Loki, if you have any time. But so she's an interesting character right off the bat, and then she gets seen by Usagi in this really like kind light. I thought was the most like beautiful moment, like her introduction, because it showed like her duality to me.
I too make friends by seeing what kind of lunch they've brought. I'm like, no, this must be your older and you want to be friend. Best friend.
And you share snacky?
Share snacky.
Yeah. Usagi has also grown on me a lot as I've gotten older, but I don't think I've ever related to her more than in that moment where she's like, share lunch.
Share lunch.
If you feed me, I'm loyal.
Like, please.
Let's go.
But they do. She has such a good introduction episode. And I even liked how they did it in Chris, which is very true to the manga. And I think both introductions are actually really strong. I don't know. Do you guys have a preference between 90s Crystal and Jupiter Crystal intro?
Crystal wasn't animated, so I'll have to say the 90s.
I really loved her intro episode in the 90s. Like that one is very, like that one hits my nostalgia feels very, very hard. But mostly I just think about her in that moment in that episode where she's just like, here's this bully, let me lift him over my head and beat him. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm here for
like, how much does she bench press to be able to this eat the right. And then her place in the Inner Senshi. So everybody always says she's the muscle, she's the fighter, like she's the one you sent on the front line. Do you think without her, like thinking about her place in the inners, do you think that anyone else could really take over that role if she wasn't there?
For me, I don't think that any of the other scouts, any of the inner scouts really fill that role in the same way because we've got Venus, who is essentially Usagi's bodyguard and her doppelganger. Mars is very much a magic user, so she's very in tune with the spirituality side of it and her fire powers. And then Amy is the brain. So I don't think there's another among the inners. I don't think there's a really easy substitute for her role.
Because she's the tank in your D&D party.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
We're all Venus and Mars.
Yes, absolutely.
The other tank is Uranus, because Uranus is shown to be strong as well. But the inner tank is Jupiter.
Absolutely.
I agree. And then she's also the mom friend of the group, I think. And she's probably the most responsible of the Inners to me. I think that she has like the most like sense of danger. If
She's
that
the
makes
most
any sense.
responsible when it comes to domestic stuff. When it comes to boys, however, I'm like, sit down. You're 15. You're fine.
No, I was just recently editing the mythology episode, and I love that theory that the reason she's so boy obsessed is because Zeus was so prevalent in his amount of lovers.
Literally, as soon as you started saying that, I was like, oh,
Well, it makes sense
makes
for
sense.
yeah, makes sense for her and Venus.
Yeah,
Venus, the goddess of love.
right. Right. Oh, that's so true. That's so true.
Okay, so I was researching for this episode. I was reading every forum, everything I could find on Sailor Jupiter being an outer scout. And surprisingly, most people's argument is just Jupiter in space is in the outer system. And that's where everybody is like, Jupiter is an inner, but she should really be an outer.
No, I was doing some research for this episode as well and kept coming across that. And I was like, okay, if that's your only argument, I don't know if I can really get on board with that. Because, okay, so just before we started this, I was like, okay, my opinion on this has definitely changed over the years. When I was very young, watching the Geeky anime, my opinion pretty much was, so weird. She's just beyond the asteroid belt, so she should be among the Outer Senshi. But then as you get further into the show and watching the original series, like whether it was on Toonami or whatever your local broadcast station was, you're not watching those episodes in order, so you don't really get a sense of when the outers come into play. But like going back and
That's true.
rewatching the entire series, and now with the knowledge just of how production for the show came about, it's like, oh, so there wasn't really a plan to bring the outers in originally, was there? So what? So I don't know. I think it's an interesting argument, and definitely I had that one whenever I was younger because Jupiter's a big planet, and much like many of the other outer planets, it's very substantial. But if you're going to go with that argument, and then also once you start getting into like Pluto and why is Pluto there still, it's like, then that argument starts to fall apart a little bit.
And our
I mean,
sitting was
no.
a planet when the series was first originally made.
And to all of us, she always will be.
I find the asteroid field, like the belt argument, interesting. My argument is the reason why she is the inners is because they needed 5 people, because that's the way the Sentais worked. Was there was 5, so they just went down the team. And they're like, we're gonna have to make Jupiter an inner. We need 5. We gotta have 5. Literally, that's what they did. Because there's no Sailor Sun.
Right. And there's no Sailor Earth, technically.
What are you talking about? Tuxedo Unmasked is a magical girl. He's got love smoking bomber. He's got a power.
I still want to do an episode on the most useless male character in
Oh,
history, but all right.
Please do.
I want to so hard. I just want to roast Mamo for 3 solid hours. That would heal my soul.
And he does transform. He does transform.
He does technically transform.
Yes.
He has that one where he's just like, his hand is out and it like cap rose, and it's beautiful.
It is quite delightful. Just going to circle it back around to the Sentai point, and something that I thought was interesting is the balancing of the elements among the scouts whenever they were coming up with that as well. So you've got traditionally with a lot of Japanese media, you've got typically a balance of those different elements that comes up. We've got water, fire, Venus is a little
metal.
With her. Metal, thank you. Because she's got the sword. Yes, thank you. It was totally
yes.
me. Yes, that's what it was. So yeah, we look at a lot of different Japanese media. There's definitely the balance of those different elements, and Jupiter represents wood. So that's why some of her attacks are what they are. Like stupid cyclone.
Which is so bad. And Coconut, I want to make it's definitely the 5-man band, the Super Sentai, like you needed 5 people. So that does explain a little bit. However, I did want to bring up an interesting fan theory that Sailor Denzel actually sent to me, one of our fans. It's on Tumblr. We weren't able to find the source, but there is a Tumblr theory that Sailor Jupiter was meant to be the bridge between the inner and the outer Senshi. And that's why she was given a semi-talisman of her little lightning rod by Queen Serenity.
Interesting.
It's an interesting theory.
She also has the rose on her hip in the manga.
Okay.
That's true.
She's actually more decked out than the other scouts.
Even close to Venus. Meant to be the princess's double. I think it's a good theory because, like, why is she given it? And it would make sense with her place in the solar system that she could go between the inners and the outers. It's a wild theory, but I thought it was a really good one.
It is interesting.
Because do we ever find out why she's given her extra of her belt and her lightning rod? Do we ever find out in the series?
Definitely not in not in
Has it.
Crystal. Yeah, not
She
in
just has
Crystal
it.
and not in the 90s. Yeah. She doesn't have it. She doesn't have the belt in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like it's just, there's something about her because she is so powerful that it's like, why is she serving the Moon Kingdom? And then B, what is it about her that she gets all of these like extras and like special, like not special treatment, but you know, like, there's something about her that's just unique, even amongst the inners. Loki was just telling us that Jupiter, the god, uses lightning bolt, eagle, oak trees as symbols. So that's why she has some wood-based attacks. But coconut cyclone, I'm sorry, is still like the wildest.
And it kills me. It kills
I
me.
will
'cause-
never.
Oh my gosh. I think it's animated one. And I just like as soon as
The coconut cyclone.
No, that one was not animated. I think that one's only in the manga.
I think you're right. It's just one of those funny things. Oh yeah, because she does it in crystal.
Oh, she does do it in crystal. Oh,
Here, I can pull it up. For
oh
us.
my gosh, please.
You got it.
I guess it would like a coconut.
I guess it was.
It's coconut shape adjacent.
Attack that was animated in crystal that just made my little Moonie heart explode was Flower Hurricane. I lost it. I just lost it. I was like, yes, this is everything that I've ever wanted.
Flower Hurricane. I'm trying to remember that one. Oh yeah. Because did they do it in crystal?
Crystal, yeah. It was not in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
She had Oak Evolution in the 90s.
That was it. Oh my god, they did it in the live action. No kidding. Flower Hurricane's in the live action too.
Fantastic.
I love
it. This is delightful. Delightful.
We always like to include little things. Let's see. Loki says it could also be because Coconut is witsy enough to warn as an upgrade to Oak Evolution. Okay. Could go with that.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that she could have a role in the Outer Scouts? Or what role would she even play in the Outer Scouts?
I think she would have headbutted too much with Uranus, with their personalities. It would have been too much of a same with the Outer Scouts. She would have had the mom aspect, but when it comes to like the tough man routine, they would have clashed so freaking hard.
I tend to agree with that as well. I'm just thinking about some of the episodes where they're like really clearly drawing parallels between Jupiter and Uranus and Mercury and Neptune, and how in so many ways that's kind of like the inner versus the outer versions of each other. So I do tend to agree with you that Jupiter is so much of a tough man in a lot of ways, especially with her brawly nature, that it would be really hard. And there's really not much of a mom among the outers. Like whatever, like Uranus and Neptune, they're just like, peace out, we're done.
Yeah, they're like, and then
Pluto a little bit because she took care of Chibi.
A little. Yeah, a little bit. But even her, she's just like, she's very distant, all things considered by comparison. So yeah, I tend to think that it would be a weird role for her to play among the Outers.
Yeah, the only thing that I was thinking, because that's the thing, if we're counting as the Outers as the original unit, so we're talking like Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, because initially those were the Outers, because Saturn was never meant to wake up. But I don't know. It's just, like you said, like, where would she would have been another muscle. She would have been another Haruka. They fight in the show without even being on this, technically they're on the same team, but
They were too close. They would have kissed.
make it gay.
I mean, they're all what I just love whenever they all meet in their civilian form. They're like, oh my gosh, that's the most handsome man I've ever met. And like, even when they find out that Uranus is, honestly, I always read Uranus as very gender fluid. Oh, I'm just gonna call them they. But like
Uranus is
like,
gender queer.
Yeah, Uranus is gender queer, like totally. And Crystal definitely solidifies that, but that's a whole other discussion. We're
I like it in the manga too. The manga, you can tell what Uranus is presenting as because of the way Naoko would draw Uranus. You'd be like, male presenting, female presenting. I'm confused, but I'm turned on.
But like that moment when they all like see Haruka like wandering around, and it's just like Makoto and Venus and Usagi, they're all just like, hey, what up? Well, Michiru's in the background, like, yeah, I know what I got.
The Michiru's like, yeah, go kiss up on the bitches. Fine.
You can try.
Let's do it. I don't really care.
Like, we kind of all agree that she does fit more with the inners, but I think this is an interesting theory because, and it's something to explore because she is technically on the outer belt. She does have the strength that the outers would require. She also has, I know this is silly, but we were talking about height. She has the height. All the outers are extremely tall. Okay, sorry. Let me also read this one. So Sailor Jupiter's powers are nature-based, originating from the Japanese name of the planet, roughly translates to wood star. The English name coming from the Roman god of thunder, Jupiter. This is her first attack of the 90s anime, which doesn't exclusively focus on the latter, and her earlier nature-based attacks, like Flower Hurricane, never appeared in that series and was primarily focused on her electrical subset of abilities. Though the attacks retain their name in the CWI English dub, she would occasionally say Sailor Jupiter or Jupiter Power before invoking her attacks. Courtesy of Sailor Moon Wiki.
He's better.
I know, I got this, and I'm like, okay, I got it.
You did ask him to research.
Yes, thank you, Loki. So that's really interesting. So because honestly, that's all I remember from her mostly as a kid is a lot of electric ability. But that is so interesting. So that the planet's name roughly translates to wood star, which does, again, bring up the Zeus. Like, I'm wondering if that's connected with oak and all that good stuff.
Probably.
And, okay, and what was the last thing, Loki? And no, the odd number is numerology thing. Powers of pyramids 3, 5, 7. Oh, for the scouts.
Okay.
It is interesting because for the longest time, the first season, which I'm still trying to get through, because the first season for me is the hardest, is they focused on 3 for a really long time. It was Moon, Mars, Mercury. Felt like eon for a while.
It was quite a few episodes.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I never thought about that, but that could totally be.
It does look like wood.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it actually does look like a piece of wood.
All right.
And
it's got a wood knot in it, though. That's funny.
Yep.
Get along with that.
We were talking about differences. One of the differences is, and I noticed once I started reading the manga, Jupiter is not as boy crazed in the manga as she is in the 90s anime.
They definitely played that up in the 90s anime for sure.
Severely. And they cut out the fact that like Jupiter had like, a senpai and they like mentioned it. But that was it. Like Jupiter was very more focused on the actual scouts. The only one who ever even got a kiss was Mars from Mr. I'm 10 years older than you and you're only 15. And I work for your father, but I would like to marry you. And so it was that's very interesting that they did that. And I think that's one of the things that I resent about the 90s anime.
Like,
They did a lot of stuff like that. They did a lot of tropes, like pitting Mars and Usagi against each other with Mamoru, and just putting like the girl fights in there that they, and it actually, like, watching it now is actually a little bit harder for me because I have read the manga, and the manga is more about like friendship, like the power of friendship. It's like My Little Ponies, my guys. This is what My Little Ponies is. The power of friendship from Sailor Moon. That's why there's 5 ponies. And Twilight Sparkle, Sailor Moon. And so it's one of the things that I probably why I did not connect to Jupiter as well when I was growing up. I was a huge fucking crybaby. That's why I connected to Isagi and I believed in one soulmate. And then Haruka popped in and I was like, I think I'm gay.
Oh no. I hope this
Oh,
doesn't
no.
awaken anything in me.
Exactly. So yeah, that was my big thing with Jupiter. They didn't show the boy craze as much in the live action as well. So that was nice. They had like I think they had a moment, if I remember correctly, with her having a boy moment. Was it with the turtle guy? Is she the does she is that the one-
Andy.
Andy. Yeah. She ends up so it's because he's not named Andy in the live
Yes.
action. I forget what his fucking name is.
I forget, but it's always Andy.
But he's really sweet and also closer in age to her.
And the romance is really cute.
It's
and she
really
gets
sweet.
so cute.
Yeah, it's really cute. They bond over his pet turtle because he's obsessed with turtles and she finds it adorable. But that's really the only like boy thing she has, but it's one boy. So I think that kind of took away from the strength that she's supposed to have, especially in the manga. That it kind of almost counterbalanced the mom role that she's supposed to lead. Because they made her so irresponsible when it came to that with the whole he looks like my ex. I can change it. And I was like, Jupiter, you're a walking red flag right now. Please stop.
It's pretty wild how she does seem to be fairly together for the most part in the 90s anime. But then some guy walks by and she's like, hello, goodbye, brain. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah, that was always an irritation for me as well. Let's just say, like, as nostalgic as the 90s anime is, it's also watching it at this point in time is also, there's a lot of episodes now that I go, we're just gonna skip right over that one and pretend it doesn't exist anymore.
I'm trying hard to get through it and watch every single episode, but man, it's so different when you're older.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the
Product of its
90s
time.
anime is very much a product of its time.
It was trying to be girl power and then downplayed at the same time. That's not how it works.
Much like most of the 90s.
Yeah. They'd be like, girl power, but please get back into the kitchen. And this is why most of us are gay, okay?
But I think that's actually a good point to bring up is because during that time, a character like Sailor Jupiter, I don't think really existed or like existed in anime that we were able to get a hold of. Because I'm
Not
trying to
in
think
anime,
somebody
per se,
who was
because
like
you had She-Ra and stuff during that time, so we had strong female characters, but it was like anime-wise, not that I can think of, because you had some Cream Mommy at that time for magical. You had Cardcaptor Sakura. I mean, you had Mei Lin in Cardcaptors. She was very strong.
yeah, she also was written so unlikable.
More unlikable in the English than she was in the Japanese.
Oh, see, I've only seen the
That's
English.
valid. That's valid.
She also gets over the fact that she's not going to get Lee.
Yeah.
That is not destined to be. And she grows the hell up and then she supports them. Like, she's like, I am completely behind you guys getting Taylor. Let's go. She matures a lot. But that's really the only strong. Oh, got
So
Slayers with Lena.
I just think that as the years have gone, I see a lot more characters that I can see Sailor Jupiter's influence in. And I love that, especially if they do a nod, like some type of rose, something. I'm always just like, but I think that she has been really influential. And I think that I wanted to get to, like, why is she such an influential character in the show? Because I know a ton of people who Jupiter is their favorite. Like, Jupiter especially seems to connect a lot with, like, people in, especially if they watched it as a child. I've seen a lot of it that she's maintained the favorite for, like, years and decades. Yes, she's hot, but soft.
Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons I've always found her so appealing is, again, like, it's so, like, oftentimes when you find that kick-ass female character, that's it. She's not allowed to be anything else. She is only kick-ass. But Jupiter is also a song. And yes, the boy crazing trope is very much, again, a product of the 90s. But I think one of the reasons I thought it was cool at the time, at this point in my life, I'm just like, oh, honey, go let those hormones calm down for a few years and
You're 14.
Get better. No, you're 14, calm down. But at the same time, I was just like, you know what? It's kind of cool that, we do have this kick-ass female character, but also she's domestic. She has what traditionally feminine coded interests, whether it's gardening or baking or sewing. But also she's like, I'm cool, like being into guys and letting myself fall in love. Even if it's the ridiculous teenage love where you're in love with someone every 5 seconds. So yeah, I think that's what always just appealed to and has stuck with me over the years, especially as I've gone through, I was a martial artist for a long time and thought I couldn't be anything but a tough girl. And now I'm like, I'm pink and I want to go sew things.
Yes.
Still I'm a black belt. So cool.
Cool. Oh my gosh.
I'm still a crybaby.
And then what did you say, Loki? Oh, I found her appealing until Haruka came around, and then I was like, oh, yes, there it is. My gender.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
No, Jupiter, I always thought of her as like the friend that you would go to when you're having a bad day.
And would have cookies ready for you, fresh from the fucking oven.
Yes, and she would just sit you down on her couch and would give you cookies and let you talk about it, and you knew you were in this safe place.
She'd snuggle you up in a blanket. All of a sudden, she's got hot cocoa out of fucking nowhere.
Just and
ready. She was like, "No worries, I'm making curry for dinner. Stay. Let me make up the guest room. You just stay right there, honey."
She'd listen to your problems and then go kick their ass. Yes, she would absolutely make you a cup of cocoa, listen to you talk about your problems, and then she'd be like, all right, I'm going to go punch this person in the face. Let's go.
It'd be a total experience.
Yep. You didn't even know she was gone, however. You'd be drinking the cocoa. You thought she went to go get you cookies. All of a sudden, she'd appear back, and she's got dirt and shit on her, and she's like, here's your fucking cookies. You're like, where did you go? She goes,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I fought with the cookies in the cupboard.
There's a cookie Yoma that y'all didn't know about. I went to go take care of it.
Honestly, I'm kind of sad we never got a cookie Yoma now.
You didn't?
Couldn't you see Usagi just trying to eat it?
Yes. And that's probably why we did.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the show. I wanted to highlight an article from Tuxedo Unmasked, which is a wonderful Moonie. They do the real world behind Sailor Moon stories. And I read this article while getting ready for tonight called How Did Sailor Moon's Producers Compare the Outer and Inner Senshi? Have you guys ever seen this article?
Yeah. I was reading that one yesterday as well.
The perfect thing you'll already know. Okay, so what's something fun is that they actually, finally we got the original team of Outers of Sailor Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. It is pure coincidence or by design that this team is so much more mature than the inner team. Why were they and how were they differently? Thankfully for us, our good friend and Sailor Moon S producer, Iraya Azuma, gave his thoughts on exact subjects in the Japanese anime magazine Animage. So what did he have to say about the two teams? Glad you asked. And this is all from the article. The blurb was titled, Sailor Moon is an office lady. Okay. Basically, an office lady is an abbreviation of OL, is a female office worker in Japan who performs generally pink-collar tasks such as serving tea, secretarial, or clerical work. Basically, think a very generic administrative role within the company. won't get into specifics here. Let's just say that you're not really looking into a strong career path or growth in your role. You wouldn't call a female boss an office lady. But basically, it goes on to say to try, and this is from the article in it, and this is from the producer explaining it in the article. To try to explain the dynamic between Sailor Uranus and Neptune and the other 5 Sailor soldiers, I guess I'd say it's a career woman, that's probably an outdated phrase, and a new office lady, that too, at a company. While all the men in the office continue to hold on to their biases and look asking at her, the office lady who's been in the company a while continues working right along with Grace. And then there is a newbie in the office, thinking it'll soon be her chance to shine, all the while getting scolded by the older woman for still being too naive. And yet she admires the younger girl. One day they get assigned to the same project. What starts out as mutual respect turns into rivalry, followed by reconciliation, and then a sense of camaraderie. I'm sure throughout that process, all sorts of situations unfold between the two. At least that's the kind of situation I'd like to give viewers a glimpse into. So what do you two think?
I mean, it's an interesting comparison.
I was going to say,
I'm just like, it's also a culture thing. Like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
culture
exactly
there.
what I was thinking.
That's a very big, because I'm just like, I was like, well, that's real sexist.
Well, but
So that's a very big culture thing over there, because they actually have roles like that. They don't have that kind of shit here. But I get what they're saying. It's you've got the inners who are fine with their roles. So they're just serving tea and cookies. They're doing their thing. But then you have the outers who are the career women who are much more mature in what they're doing. That's what I'm getting from the article. Like I said, that's a very cultural, like, look at it. Like, I'm not seeing it in my head just because we don't have that kind of culture here when it comes to looking at stuff like that. For them, I'm sure that they understood exactly what the hell he was saying. And meanwhile, I'm just sitting here, I'm like, that's real racist.
I think from what I'm trying to interpret, and sorry, Mindy, if I cut you off, I didn't mean to. But what I think he was trying to equate it to, if I'm understanding right, is somebody. I actually read it as the outers were the established people in the company, and then the inners were brought in and trying to do the same job, and now they have to collaborate. That's how I interpreted it. And then it's like the young, like I thought it was, and again, I might be interpreting it wrong, but I thought it as the young comeuppance, and it was like the younger person, because the inners are younger. So they bring a new, fresh eye to it. But it's like they don't want, the outers are so like duty and regimented, because that's all they had outside in the outer solar system. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I can see that. Again, it's such a like the comparison is a little weird, like from a Western perspective, just because again, we don't have that kind of cultural dynamic over here. So I think for me, looking at the inners versus the outers, like it would just be like an upper versus underclassmen thing is really where I would look at it a bit more.
Yeah.
Just because you've got the outers, they know what's going on. They've been around for a hot minute. They know the routine. And then you've got the bright, perky young underclassmen who are like, oh, we look up to you, but also we're going to be little chaos goblins. Because that's what they're little chaos goblins by comparison.
Oh, especially in the 90s anime, they are pure chaos goblins.
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, it's really hard to fully wrap my head around that comparison without that cultural dynamic here.
I think the under and upperclassmen is a great way to look at it.
That's a really good way to look at it.
Because I'm sorry, but I don't know if you guys had this, but we had powder puff football at my school, and like the juniors always wanted to beat the seniors. It was always that rivalry in the younger class going up against.
Oh yeah.
See,
that was a very good comparison.
But I just thought
we understand that here.
I just thought it was an interesting, since it was actually from the producer, I at least wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it definitely shows the cultural differences, because we're just sitting here like, what do you
Honestly, my brain a little bit went to Retsuko. And I don't know if y'all have seen that show, but I was just like, yeah, I was just sitting there like, Pretsko's like when she gets pigeonholed into that, oh, I gotta be like the office lady role. But then she's got her cool senpais that she's like, oh, I love these career ladies. They're so much cooler than me. They got all their shit together, and I want to be like them. Not realizing they're also hot messes.
Yeah, because there is a lot of admiration towards the outer scouts from the inner scouts. And I think especially Jupiter towards Uranus.
Oh, yeah. I think it was in Crystal, the episode where Uranus thoroughly trounces her, and she's like, I guess I got to go up to the mountains and start training so I can beat Uranus.
She takes it so personally that she loses.
She does. Yeah.
And then I think it's an interesting parallel between that episode and then in the 90s, whenever you have the episode where Makoto was the victim of the pure heart crystal getting taken out and Uranus and Neptune spend the day with her. That episode has always been a wild one to me, though I love the, how did you get your license so young? But
and then the silence.
Sure. Don't worry about it. I tried to find the clip for like an hour. I couldn't find it. But I always thought that was such an interesting moment of seeing how the outers would act with Makoto coming along with, because the other inners were kind of jealous. They were like, what do you mean you're going with them? I don't know.
I'd be jealous too. I'm not gonna lie.
I just always feel like the inners put the outers like almost on that upperclassman. Like someone to look up to, but you're on the same team.
Right.
They put them on a pedestal and then they realize that they're a bunch of assholes.
Honestly,
they're like, oh, you don't want to do teamwork. Y'all are a bunch of bitches.
So I don't know if either of y'all did any kind of sport or anything in high school or any of that. Okay. So I am
okay.
On drill team all throughout my high school career, and like I kind of going back to like the powder puff, like I always again thought about the outer scouts as like the juniors and the seniors, and then the inners were like the freshmen and the sophomores. So that's good, like how that worked for me.
I love that. Like genuinely, I love that as their like comparison. Like, that makes so much sense to my brain.
We even like this new. Okay, so I'm from Texas, and like football culture and drill team culture is its own experience in Texas.
Okay,
it's a whole thing. But like we would have the big sister, little sister thing, especially for freshmen coming in or new people coming to the team. So that's where my brain goes with them. Just like that. Oh, y'all amazing. And then you get there and you're like, oh, now I get it.
I think that's why I see it so hard. I was in marching band, so I know that mentality you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you idolize your seniors. Like they have the cool stuff on their uniforms and like they're the ones who have been in it and they can tell stories from the past. It's so cool. I
was best friends with the library, so I'm like, sure. Because I was a klutz. I was not a sports person.
What are the moments where you're like, this is solidifying Jupiter as a character for me?
Oh, man. My favorite episode was the ice skating episode with her.
The ice skating episode with that, what was it, Fabio?
I have no idea. I didn't care about him. I just cared about the fact he skated elegantly. Where she like stepped on the ice and she was like, huh. And you were just like, is that your first time on the ice? And she's like, yeah. And you're like
that was one way I was like, oh, I can't relate to you on this because I just face plant to the ice. Like, well, no, that was like one of my favorite episodes with her as well because she's just, oh yes, look at me, so elegant. And Luna and Artemis are like, oh yeah, even in the Moon Kingdom, she was like the best.
Yeah, she was the rival of Princess Serenity when it came to ice. I thought that was cute.
But what's great and what I love is that it turns into this.
Is it your first time? Is it, Serena? What makes you say that? Don't worry. Artemis said I was a champion afternoon. Oh, Oh, yeah, let's go. Something.
That's me.
Same girl. Same girl.
I took ice skating lessons and I still will fall flat on my ass.
And that was from Sailor Mars Says on YouTube. But I love that. I love that episode. That is such a funny episode. And I like how she just like skates like it's nothing.
Yeah.
She
just steps on
going
the
on
ice
by.
and suddenly Princess Jupiter is there. And everybody else is like,
what just happened here? Like,
I
I
guess
guess
scouts
we're
were struggling.
She's just rolling that D20 on athleticism.
Which, do you think that's like her tank aspect? Like it just magically she's good at like sports and everything?
Oh, she would be such a barbarian. Like, no questions asked. Like, full on Jupiter as barbarian. Yes, please and thank you.
That was just her ice skating happened to be a 20.
Yeah.
Not 20.
Yeah.
She hit nat 20 and she had like a +1 on top of that or something like that. But she hit a nat 20. That's the reason when she got it.
Oh, yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I just think that clip shows a greatness of the Inners and the relationship where like poor Usagi tries her hardest at everything.
It's so hard.
Like with such confidence where she's like, Artemis said I'm a great skater. This will turn out great. My girl.
She relied too much on that though, like her whole princess aspect. But she didn't have, while she turned into Princess Serenity, she didn't have the memories of Princess Serenity, really. Like, she didn't have all of the embodiment of the Moon Princess, which I found interesting. And meanwhile, everybody else is like, yeah, my princess used to do this, and I can do it. While Usagi's just like, "Funk."
And it's something we'll have to look into more is like, why did Usagi not translate at all from Princess Serenity?
She does in the manga.
Yeah, she does.
She starts maturing the moment she becomes Princess Serenity. And they have that moment where the scouts have to come over because she can't leave the house because her hair is grown all over her.
That's right.
That was such a fascinating panel. Oh, and it was drawn so beautifully.
It was such a sweet one.
So good. Yeah.
They all got together. And they're like, no worries, we got you, fam. And they're like,
yeah, her buns
they're like cutting her hair and putting her back to rights. But she started maturing after that, like significantly. She changed. Her also the art style for her started changing too, along with the others. They started getting more mature looking with their with how she was drawing them.
That's interesting.
Just the 90s anime was like, you get nothing.
It's one of those things that I have to sit there and go, how much were they milking that just for the 90s anime? Because, like, don't get me wrong, again, nostalgia factor all the way through. But Main Alive, some of those early seasons, whenever you get into the villain of the week thing, and it's just like, oh, all right. We're going to walk through a few more of those. Although, that said, one of the episodes that I really, really liked was the episode where Jupiter makes that really big, pretty rose dress.
Yes.
That was one that I was just like, oh, my girl, I love you.
And it's such an interesting episode, too, because of the way Tiger's Eye plays off of her.
Yes.
Because I think it really showcases that girl waited in dress and heels for that man. And he did not show up, and it still makes me mad to this day.
I know. Like she's there, and I'm like, oh, you just want to love. That's what you want to do. It's okay. I don't know.
How do you guys feel that she will most likely, because that's, okay, this is something I've always found interesting about Sailor Moon, is that the Inners have dreams. The Inners literally have dreams for what they would do when they grow up, even though they already know that they're going to be serving Usagi. But Jupiter's dream is to get married and I believe have a flower shop, if I'm remembering.
Okay.
And I've always found it so horribly depressing to me that I know that she probably won't get her flower shop because she's going to be busy in the Moon Kingdom and Crystal Tokyo and probably leading an army.
But we don't know if they have those careers. So they show them as the scouts because that's all Chibi Usa knows. But they don't show if the scouts are constantly in the palace. We don't know if they have civilian-like lives on top of that. We also it's because you have to think it's Chibiusa's 900. She coulda they coulda had it, like, maybe the first 100 years into Crystal Tokyo had it, and then they were like, "I've done this for 100 years. I'm gonna go live in the palace with Usagi with my friend." Um,
There is
so
a substantial time gap.
yeah.
That's
So they don't really give us enough information, which I think is sad. We don't get enough information about what actually happens in the future. It wasn't very fleshed out with what's gonna go on with people. So maybe they did get to live their dreams, or they got to live their dreams before Crystal Tokyo happened.
Doesn't Usagi take the throne at 22 though, or something? It's like super young.
After the Earth freezes,
Oh,
because there's an ice age that lasts for something. I think the ice age is supposed to last for a second before she wakes up.
we'd have to get
Something. It's one of those loopholes that I'm just like, oh, you really needed to think this out before you just. It's one of those things where it's like, I think there was an ice age or it was some bullshit like that, and then she, with the power of the crystal, unfreezes the earth, and that's why they made her queen, because she revived everybody and
Right.
established the earth. And that's why she
Mhm.
becomes queen, because she builds Crystal Tokyo as a symbolism of like peace and harmony, and that's the way the earth is going to work from now on. And she gives people immortal life, and that's where you get the Black Moon Clan, because the Black Moon Clan was like, we don't actually want to be immortal. That's one of the frictions. I believe they're part of the faction that didn't want to be immortal, and they didn't believe in that, so they left Earth.
Interesting. Yeah, because
We don't know if Jupiter maybe does get it, or the girls actually get to live their dreams. I like to hope so. I the little short story where you meet Usagi and all of the girls are married and they're moms now. I really liked that one because it's all them just having tea while they're like talking about their kids. I was like, oh, Usagi's got 2 kids, and they're like, good luck.
no,
That's
that's a
just
good
my
point.
hot take on it, because, like I said, it's 900 years. I think Chibiusa is almost 1,000 years old. But she's approaching that, and that's why she's mad that she has not grown up.
Yeah. No, and I'm working on something. Keep going.
Yeah, so like I said, they really don't show it, because, like I said, what if they did have it and they were like, "Okay, we've done this for 100 to 200 years. We're gonna go live in the palace now," and that's really the only life Chibiusa remembers them as, is always being in the palace with her mom.
And we don't know how reliable the narrator Chibiusa is to begin with. So
Because you don't have
valid.
the outers
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause
which
they
she
weren't
just.
established.
All right. So, do we have any last thoughts before we want to take our 15-minute break? Let's see. Oh, okay. Sailor Denzel comes in my head canon. They were on soldier mode 24/7, and that's why Chibiusa only got close with Pluto. I can see that, especially with the outers. They're workaholics.
Like I said,
Oh, absolutely.
she really flopped that, where she was like, "They're 900 years." I'm like, "What's been happening in those 900 years?" And
Right?
she's like, "I don't fucking know. We're just gonna say 900 years."
That's why she mentions it once and never brings it up in the rest of the series. We've looked.
She's like, "Write your fan fictions and shut up."
That's okay. That's what it's for.
Fan fiction is here. Hey guys, welcome back to Eternal Mooncast. And now, with the mini news, we welcome Selene.
We decided to keep this segment because you guys seem to enjoy what info I had for you. Our first bit of info, and it's something you guys need to be looking out for because it's for the States only. So Hot Topic released their new Sailor Moon line, and yes, I bought most of it.
Rest in peace, Loki.
I did do a pay-in for on it. However, I will bring it up right now. This came out first. Now, rumor has it that Box Lunch is supposed to come out with their own Sailor Moon line, but it releases during Black Friday weekend.
What?
That is the rumor that is going on right now. We don't know A lot of people are hoping that we will see the book bag that some people were able to get their hands on, which had Sailor Moon's Fuku and then Tuxedo Mask on the back. When that dropped, I looked for it and it was gone. They pulled it off the site very quickly. I don't know if it's because it wasn't supposed to be online. That's not what I wanted. Hot Topic's actually been really leaning into the TikToks, which was really cute that they did for the Sailor Moon line. I'm going to pop it up if it would stop giving me ads. Okay. We'll share my screen. You're going to share this.
Hot Topic intern fire. I want that.
Yeah, box lunch more than likely.
I want that.
Yeah. So it's a really cute bag. I'm starting to see in some of the Sailor Moon groups, people have it. It was a box lunch exclusive. However, like I said, it went up and then suddenly the moment people found out about it, it was no longer on the site. You couldn't use any of the links, nothing. So we don't know if maybe it was meant to go with the launch that's on that launch, because it's word of mouth right now that there's supposed to be a launch for box lunch specifically Thanksgiving weekend. So on Black Friday, be looking out. This Sailor Moon line right here, I wish it was just this. They had it where it was just featured with the new line on top. But because it's been a week since it came out, they stopped that. Also, cash is so they have this really cute varsity jacket.
That's cute.
That I
Does
really
it have a
love.
sailor collar?
Yes, it is.
It is tan collar. They do have a plus size. It's very fucking cute.
Oh, that's so cute.
It looks real soft.
I want.
So I got this. I really want this bag. However, I really want this one, and it's a chase version.
I heard you have to randomly get lucky.
It's a big luck, but this is the one I want. I only want that one. So we'll see if anybody's not selling it for, disgusting amount. Because
Oh yeah, they made Chip use his other bag too. I forgot that.
because yes, and there is a plus size version.
There's a plus size version too?
Yeah.
Heck.
Let me see. Oh, hold on. Let's see if this will just take me to the. Damn it, it doesn't. Okay. They had this big thing where if you clicked on it, it had like the banner and the new stuff was on top. And
That is so cute though.
so, yes, they came out with a black lady dress. It's very cute.
That is so cute.
It's got symbols. I think it's got the Black Moon Clan moon all over the velvet. It does come in plus size, which I did get. And for people who have not had the Hot Topic plus size, it's fantastic. Their plus size is true to size. It's actually, I'm not going to lie, I actually like their plus sizes more than some of their other franchises they have, like Torrid, who's supposed to be plus size. I got this.
That's cute.
Oh, that's adorable.
Me. It's so comfy and it's Sherpa.
It's like, especially as we get to the colder months.
So cute.
I got this. And I did not get the jeans because they were like weirdly like wide-legged.
They are very wide-legged. I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing some, like there are some fashion things that don't need to come back around again.
I got this. No.
I want that again. Oh, that's cute.
That's adorable.
It's got cat ears on it.
Oh. That's so cute.
And it's got ruffles.
That's
Those ruffles
so
on the
cute.
sleeves. Yeah, it's got cat ears. It's Luna and Artemis. It's super fucking cute. So this, I did not get this because in the plus size version, they did not size the bow to the plus size version.
Really?
Do you see that?
Why do that?
I was actually really upset about it. I actually was debating whether or not to buy it because usually like this stuff is actually made out of pretty good material. It's not bullshit. And that's why I'm like, when people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to buy it. I'm like, I actually buy a lot of my stuff from Hot Topic. They actually do a pretty damn good job. This I'm not happy about. This right here,
Hot Topic.
do better. They literally took the bow from the regular size and popped it on there when they should have resized it for the plus size. I was going to get this, and then I was like, my cart's very expensive right now.
Oh, that's cute.
It's very cute. I do have hot cash, So I will probably be getting the rest of the stuff that I didn't. And that's really it. They have a couple of some other things. They had that new purse that was on the first, like the first, those purses like this and this, these are brand new, as is this. I actually have been thinking about this because these are actually very big. Just in case anybody's wondering, I have the other bat. Oh, never mind, we're getting it.
Wait, Diamond Cottage? What? What?
I didn't realize the Black Moon Clan was on it.
All of them?
But look at Diamond. Look at him being so sad.
Oh, be sad. He's a horrible person.
He's misunderstood.
He's a bad person.
Ignore that red flag. So I didn't know the Black Moon Clan was on it. I wasn't going to get it originally, and now we are because it's got the moon and the Black Moon.
And then show up that last bag too, because it has a cute coin purse that I'm obsessed with. Look at it. Oh, it's a compact that's a little purse. Yes.
It comes off.
So cute.
Oh, that's adorable.
Definitely take that off and put it inside the bag because someone will be able to clip that right off. The bags are actually pretty good. I have quite a few bags from them. They're actually very well made. I have, like I said, I've had the other satchel bag that they had, and it held together pretty well. I still have it. I love it. So that's for Hot Topic. So that's for stateside, and like I said, for stateside, be on the lookout for box lunch Black Friday weekend because that is what the rumor is for their drop. Because usually when Hot Topic has a Sailor Moon drop, Box Lunch has one also for it's called the Sailor Moon Collection. And that's their Sailor Moon brand. They tend to drop once or twice a year. I wasn't expecting it, and then I saw the Black Lady dress, and I was like, because they barely ever get anything. Okay. Now to Japan. Now a lot of stuff has dropped in Japan for like, movie and stuff like that when that was going on. During our break, there was some more stuff. I'm not going to do all of it.
We would be here for the rest of the night.
We would be here for a while. I also couldn't find everything. I have a couple like stuff that the Sailor Moon store is going to launch. Speaking of Black Lady, she's getting a little acrylic stand that's also a pen stand and a pen and a little journal. I literally just want the acrylic stand. I usually don't care that they're for pens. I put them in my display case as an acrylic stand. But it's really pretty. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't recall why there's so much Black Moon Clan stuff coming out. Maybe because they're trying to actually give us more villain stuff. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about them bringing out more stuff. Okay, let's see what we got. And then we have these cute little things for the outers.
What are the outers? What?
They're necklaces.
Outers get merchandise. Yeah.
I don't think these are out in the store yet. They're not too bad. It's costume jewelry, so they're depending if you have a proxy or not. If you have a proxy, it's maybe $20 in American and USD. If you guys are looking, as I say to everybody, the yen is still down and the USD is still doing very well. So buy your stuff now while you're doing well. I bought something that would have originally cost me $500 a couple years ago for $350.
Nice.
I was like, oh Jesus Christ, I'm gonna buy this now.
Again, Loki's comment seems perfect.
I'm so sorry. As you guys can see, my Sailor Moon collection behind me. I actually should be the last. If you guys can see her, my doll's up there. You see them? I'm just missing Jupiter. Jupiter should actually probably be home by like January.
Yay.
Speaking of Jupiter, she was my last one, and I actually got the school girl off it, so I'm happy about that. Hello? There we go.
Oh, what?
I didn't want to. They've got these little puppet mascots.
Puppet?
They're just little plastic figures.
Okay.
They're chunky though, which I think is really cute because they put these regular sized heads and then put them on these small little bodies, but they are chunky. Our girls are definitely curvaceous in these little figures. I think it's adorable because they look chubby.
That's so cute.
It's just Ensky. Ensky is very well known for their figures. I'm actually surprised these are Ensky because they tend to do very detailed figures when they're little plastic figures. I have some Enskys for my like Cardcaptor Sakura and some of my Sailor Moon, like small, like the gotcha machine ones. When Ensky does them, they're very detailed. So I'm actually surprised these are Ensky. They're just a little mascot thing. It's oh, my computer decided to like do something, but thank God it didn't crash. I thought it crashed for a second. I was like,
oh no.
I was like, oh no, bro. Let's see what else we got. We've got. I actually got these. And I'm super excited. They're AirPod cases.
AirPod cases?
Yeah.
They're cute.
So they got Eternal and they got the Starlights. I got both. Even though I have the Casetify one.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And I don't even want to talk about how much that cost me.
No, we don't talk about
it. Because I had to get it on eBay.
Ooh.
Oh, I'll tell you. I had to pay $170 for that case.
Right.
That's the cheapest that you can find. Well, you have to think the case was almost $90 on its own.
That's true.
Like from Casetify, just so you guys know. So you're not like, it was like $90 on its own. Just the case. Me paying $170, that was the cheapest I could find because all the rest of the people wanted 200 plus. It was $170 with free shipping.
Ooh.
So everybody wanted like 200 plus. And they also never remade it, which pissed me. They were like, we're not going to remake this. I was like, do you know how many scalpers bought this?
Many.
So many. Let's see what we got. So this is for the 6th anniversary of the Sailor Moon store. I can't believe it's already been 6 years. They did a little watch.
Oh, that's so cute.
With her blanket details.
That's adorable.
And it comes in a little box of her blanket. They're serial numbered. I'm a little sad because even if I got it, it probably wouldn't fit me because Japanese sizes are so small. I have a very large wrist and there's no way it would fit, which would make me very sad. But this is really cute. It's already in stores for the 6th anniversary. I think every year they've come out with a watch. And if I got them, I'd literally have to put it in a display case because I would never be able to wear it, which makes me sad. The last thing I have is something actually really exciting that came out. I don't know. Michi probably heard about it because maybe, I don't know, J-pop kind of thing. Or she K-pop. Jenny?
Yes, I can talk a lot about that. I know a lot about that.
So Naoko actually drew
for her solo.
For Jenny's solo album.
Yeah, it's something Moonlight.
Yeah.
But it was so Sailor Moon coded. I couldn't. She has pigtails with little bun. She's in a white dress in like the moonlight. Everybody was like, this is Sailor Moon. And then the artwork came out and everybody, and I was like, I told you.
Yep. Naoka herself actually drew this for Jenny. And I'm like, ma'am, do you realize like how jealous everybody is of you? Like the fact that you got the queen to draw your freaking album cover. But yeah. So that's everything. Yeah, that was everything.
I could not get over Sailor Moon collaboration because I'm like, how much money was exchanged for new art?
That or Naoko's a fan.
You know what? She could be a Blink. I could see her being a Blink.
She could be a fan because she drew the Russian figure skater who skated to Sailor Moon. She drew her a Sailor Moon thing and handed it to her, like as a thank you.
That's really sweet.
That's really cool.
But yeah, that is everything for Moonie News. Like I said, for stateside, since most of our people are stateside, be on the lookout for the possible drop from Box Lunch. We have no idea what's in it. Like I said, for the Hot Topic one, the only thing I knew about was the cat hoodie because those dropped in stores before the launch. And just so you guys know, just so you know, because I did used to work for the company. I no longer work there. You have to watch the websites. They are actually not allowed to post Sailor Moon on their social medias.
What?
Really?
Hot Topic official can. The official Hot Topic. But let's say you follow, because like I follow my stores. My local stores
okay.
have.
Ooh.
Just so you know, if you guys follow them yourself, like you follow your local store to see like what new things come in, they are not actually allowed to post when they have the Sailor Moon stuff. It is against company policy. Just so you know. So always watch out.
Fascinating.
That is.
I was just like, really? We can't? They're like, stop, don't post anything. We're like,
Before we end mini news completely, you can put a little clown emoji on my face right now. Because we're going to talk real quick about how long is the Sailor Moon new movie going to take to come out in the United States of America?
I thought they announced December.
But do you realize that we said that it was probably going to be over Anime Expo weekend last time we were on air?
I don't want to talk about it.
That's why I'm saying clown emoji. This clown emoji right here.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand.
I want to talk to them. Like, genuinely, I want to have a talk. Like, why is it taking this long?
Who's struggling with the distribution right? Because I just want to see it so bad. I really want to see it real bad. I've been on it. Okay, so quick side note here. I've been laughing a lot because I have a Sailor Galaxia commission that I've been working on for a while. And I was like, at this point, it's just a race to see who's going to finish first. Me on the Galaxia or them to release the movie. And I think I'm winning at this point. Yeah. I think I'm going to win. I didn't think it was worth it. I didn't think I was gonna, but now I am.
I'm sorry, but like we thought Anime Expo, we thought they were going to announce that we were going to have it on Netflix the next month, that it was going to be amazing, and we were going to have it just like before.
I wonder, and this is just me wondering, if with all the strikes that were going on,
Ooh.
they couldn't get the voice actors.
You raise a fair point.
That,
Okay.
or they were waiting for it to actually come out on video in Japan because then it's cheaper for them to turn it into a stream.
If they did that, I'm so angry I can't even speak.
I think it might, like now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, oh fuck, the strikes were going.
You're right.
So it could have been.
The actors' strike is still going, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's
Last I heard, they had kicked a counteroffer to regarding the AI clause. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And thinking about it, I'm sure that that localization ran into some issues with the writer's strike as well.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, fine. If that is what it is, I take everything back. I'm not angry anymore. It still sucks. But it's just like, I just would love to know, like, if that was actually the reason. Because I could imagine that they would want to lose, like, the hype.
Didn't it come out in
Actors
January?
are still on strike.
When did it come out?
I thought it came out beginning of this year. Or
Oh,
am I
is it
misremembering that?
Sailor Moon?
Yeah, the
June.
Okay, my brain is
Because
not
part 2 came out on her birthday.
okay.
Oh.
Thank you.
There we go.
And then, of course, summer strike. Okay, all right.
All right.
The actors are still on strike.
Okay.
Okay, so
As of 10, hold on. That's 10/12.
do we have a confirmation that the movie is officially coming out on DVD for us?
I think for Netflix. Hold on.
Let me look it up. Sailor Moon Cosmos. You don't see an official confirmation?
The Blu-ray comes out December 20th.
But is that the Blu-ray just for the Japanese release?
Probably.
So that could not even have a translation.
So we have nothing.
Yep, just Japanese release. So we still have nothing. The fandoms are going to be
oh man, we're going to get those early on. Fandoms.
They're going to be like back early YouTube. I want that early YouTube.
Yes.
But you know what? That could be why, if the actors are still on strike, and if I'm saying anything about that wrong, let me know. But if they're still on strike, that could be why we're still not able to get a DVD or any kind of release. Okay. So Loki
They
says,
did, but I think it's they're not too happy with what's in it.
Yeah, I if I'm remembering right, because I was just reading about this. There's still some issues with how the studios are handling AI. That they're not happy.
That's why we haven't gotten Cosmos.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's fine. We did fine. It's fine. We didn't need it. Haven't been waiting like our entire lives. Sorry.
You know what's funny is I'm surprised Crunchyroll hasn't stepped up and done just. I'm wondering if they'll step up once it's on DVD. If
And
they'll
put it
step
up.
up and just at least give us a subtitled.
I'd be happy with that.
That's how I plan on watching it anyway. So I'm like,
just anything at this point.
Anything.
At this point.
Because I feel like it almost feels like childhood again, where you think you're about to get stars and then nothing ever comes.
and then
It's like, hello, here's a lead and
Nothing. It's been giving they stop airing stars in the United States. So I'm like, what, are you not giving us stars again? It's like, what's going here? Please. Okay, but that was the last of Moonie news. Sorry, it was like for the extra edition, but I was like, we need to talk about this because this is very current.
I thought I had heard something, and now I just went through the internet and it says nothing, and I'm like, fuck me. Okay.
All right, but we'll keep you guys up to date. We ever hear of an actual like confirmed release, I'll try to put it on our story.
I did find something out when I was looking. Even the Japanese Blu-rays will not have English subtitles. So even if you buy it, there's no English subtitles.
I don't like them. I don't want. I don't want.
Because you and the horse you rode in on, you're not allowed to have it. Yeah, they said there's going to be no English subtitles on the DVD.
Fans, do your thing. Please, fans, we need you. Fan ups forever, Leon. Fan ups forever. But okay, let's actually get back to Jupiter. This is a really good question because the subs are going to be written by union writers. Okay. Yep. All right. And that is our sad end to Moonie news.
I just not on the blank anymore.
All right. So
wait, I got a clown nose somewhere.
I need it. Oh, but okay. So Sailor Jupiter, getting back to her for the evening. Something I wanted to talk about, since we were talking about if she was an outer, that would mean she wasn't in the first 2 seasons. So how differently would the first 2 seasons have gone without her?
Do you go into a dungeon without your tank?
Fair.
No. Whether you're playing WoW or D&D, you don't go into a dungeon without.
Because I just think
otherwise it's Leroy Jenkins all over again.
Because think about it. Think about it, like it had just been Mars, Mercury, and Moon, and then Venus showed up, and she was like, "It's time to fight." Because it goes pretty. I just go pretty quick after Venus gets there.
What, for the final battle?
Yeah,
it's literally 2 episodes.
Yeah, it ramps up pretty quick.
It goes. Venus shows up, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go against Beryl now." That's it.
Yeah, so imagine if somebody took Sailor Moon and cut out the Jupiter and just had Venus show up and it was just the 3 Stooges. And she was like, it's time to go. Sorry, I'm not much of an Inner fan. I'm going to get killed. And it's time to go fight Beryl. Like, they would get killed even quicker than they did to begin with.
Like, you think about that fight up in the North Pole and how many baddies that Jupiter was just like, just literally carrying them at one point. Look at all these. Look, Sailor Scouts. Guess I'm just going to carry them across the North Pole. Literally.
And by the way, and thank you for bringing that up, because I actually think her death is one of the coolest scenes in anime. She took no hit whatsoever and was just like, I'm going to take you out. Shut up, look.
It's true.
Imagine
there was no princess, you wouldn't have a job.
Fine. Yay, inners. All right.
Like, honestly,
I can just see my wife upstairs going.
This is why we're in different states. But
well, I agree with you. She's just like, as she's like going out, I'm like, oh, she's like, all right, let's go. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I actually have the clip because I actually wanted to bring it up because it's actually my favorite Sailor Jupiter moment ever, I think. Like, I'm pretty sure out of everything, it's just my favorite. Just because of her strength and determination in the scene.
ジュピターを巻き添えにして私のことはいいから早くクイーンベリーのところへ私に電撃で勝負を仕掛けるとはいい度胸だね何覚悟しなスクリームサンダーこしゃくな
Scene is just everything.
The whole doom and gloom girls had me crying. Let's just.
Oh, yeah. I remember finally seeing the non-censored version of that and going, oh,
Like you thought you were crying before?
and they went to sleep. It's fine. It's fine. Oh no, they died. They died. Oh, okay. No, I'm not okay now. I'm not okay.
That's the and her scream compliments to the voice actress.
Oh, yeah.
Chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. Love it.
And like, especially for this being 90s voice acting, and this is not like throw shade or anything. It's just voice acting has gotten significantly better over the last 30 years. But like that moment in particular, oh my God, yes. Like you said, that was phenomenal voice acting.
That was some good DBZ screaming.
Yeah.
They're fitting because then whenever they have to leave her, it's like
Oh.
the hardest thing they
Oh,
ever
it's
have to do.
heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking.
And I think that kind of really her death, I think, is honestly one of the biggest catalysts of the first season for their like inner senshi growth.
Yeah. That whole arc, again, like just the memory of watching it uncensored versus and reconciling that with my memory of watching it as like, how old was I? Like 10 or something? Yeah. Like, what?
Did you have like total shock? Of,
I
like,
did. I absolutely did.
oh, no, because that to me was my moment with her where I was like, okay, I hardcore have like now I don't know, like crush. Oh, Emi Shinohara was the voice actress. Cool. Amazing. But that is, I always just like to, I've been wanting to talk about that moment forever because the Inners versus Doom and Gloom girls, I could honestly do an episode of. I was just going to say, the fact she tried to take on all four at once, she had to have overdid her powers in a way. I mean,
You took on all 5. It wasn't just 4 of them.
Yeah.
it was
all of
fun.
them. It was all of them. But yeah, I like circling back around to like one of the reasons I loved Sailor Jupiter is like she is their shield, like not just their tank, but she's like full barbarian. Like she's gonna like throw out the hits, but also take the hit for the team. And like I love that about her. Like just yes.
And I love her. She's best girl in a lot of
She
ways.
is best girl, yeah.
And then thinking about moving on to the second season, because what was her really defining moments of the second season? I'm trying to remember, because that is probably my least watched season out of all of them.
You talking about the Doomtree arc?
No, yeah, actually, Doomtree arc. All I remember is the Snow White. My boobs are the biggest.
Yeah. She has the most talent.
I was like, damn, I must be boob define anything. I'd be a billionaire. You talking about, so was that the Black Moon Clan?
She didn't really have a crush on Alan, or did she?
Yeah, because remember, she's flirting with Alan.
Oh, yeah, she
And
tries to
Anne
date
witnesses
him.
it because she makes Alan a lunch. And that's why Anne attacks Jupiter.
That's right. I remember thinking about that as a kid, that was like something that was going to happen like every day.
But that was really it in the Doomtree arc. I can't remember Black from Black Moon Clan
Yeah.
because I think she fought Pets
I
because that was her counterpart in the whole thing.
think, is there any part of the second season that she was like super instrumental? I'm trying to remember her episodes, but it's like blanking. But otherwise, we can move on.
Lisa's arc, they had their episodes when they were against their opposite. They didn't really have anything. It wasn't like when you had the Heart Snatchers where they had their episode, their defining episode.
Yeah, it's kind of fun how it like developed, how the show developed itself. I feel like by Stars they had it perfected.
They also had the art perfected because Stars was the most beautiful. I think when it comes to the 90s, I think it's really different as you start going through the series that the scouts are not as main of a focus anymore. I mean, you have the outer scouts are the main focus, and the heart snatchers, Neptune and Uranus, of course. But when it comes to the inners, they become almost background just a little bit during the series. They have their moments, but they don't have defining moments like they did in the season 1.
Oh, and that's interesting. I never really thought about, because you're right. They do almost get a little bit more background as the seasons go, but at least like they're still in the inners or in the season, in like the 4th season.
The only time they get a defining moment is when it's their episode for their like heart to get stolen, their dream mirror to get stolen.
That's true.
That's when they have a real moment.
And even thinking about the Black Moon arc, like they get kidnapped and like they're just in limbo for several episodes.
I thought they were killed. Were they not killed in the 90s?
I don't think they were outright.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
No,
like they were in the
manga. Manga just like huffs them so many times. They're just like, man, I'm so glad. Yeah, we got our resident cleric who's coming in and just like lesson us over and over.
Seriously, like how many times? Okay, there. I got a question for the audience and you guys. How many times did Jupiter die in total in the series? I'm pretty sure we're getting close to a handful.
They died in every arc.
At least once.
Yeah.
Except they didn't die during Heart Snatchers.
No.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They did not die during Heart Snatchers.
I thought no, you're right. Saturn doesn't kill them.
No. They die. I think they died during Black Moon.
I'm pretty sure. My rewatches.
Because I'm pretty sure it like comes down to like Usagi and Mamoru doing shit.
Yeah, it always does. That's the formula.
If they die, they definitely die during Galaxia.
Yeah.
Yo, couple time. What the heck about that season? Like,
she's just like, I'm gonna kill everyone.
She kills Mamoru right in front of Usagi.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Mom doesn't even get a chance to defend himself, really. He gets like one solid hit and that's it.
I mean, he kisses Usagi and then all of a sudden he's like, it's literally like Thanos snap. Turns to that.
Yep, it's sad like we don't have the new movie to be able to comment on.
I think they die all together 3 times.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's 3 as well.
3 sounds right.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, I'm seeing.
I think manga.
I think the only one who dies in season 3 is Pluto.
This one's throughout the anime series. Even the anime series, like they die several times.
Right.
And I'm like, what about the manga?
Okay, you're seeing that Loki is saying that they died twice in the anime in the 90s. Okay, so why don't we
say at least 3 times?
You want to say 3?
Yeah. I think it's 3 times.
Okay, so that makes sense. I don't even remember how. Sorry, we really segued from our topic. I'm like trying to go back. I'm going back in the conversation.
We were traumatized by the doom. By the doom and gloom girls.
Oh, I think I found it. Okay, so they die during the Dark Moon Kingdom arc.
Okay, they died during Meryl.
The only person that died during the Black Moon arc is Sailor Pluto.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
they die during the Infinity arc because their soul gets eaten by Mistress 9.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Really?
And then they die in the Stars arc. I was right 3 times.
3 times. Go
okay.
Selene.
3 times.
And then
Great.
Loki says that Sailor Moon dies a total of 6 times. Apparently, she's an overachiever at that. So
Guys, 6 times.
that makes sense knowing Usagi between the movies. Just because she's so selfless, like throughout the seasons. Sorry, I didn't mean to go down this tangent.
Usagi does not die.
It only has like
He's
these
not
poor
counted as death in any of the seasons.
these poor traumatized kids. I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also,
she's not on the death list.
So keep in
I'm
mind.
literally looking at a death list for Sailor Moon. It's called Sailor Moon manga death list.
Please send it to me. I
And
will
it
put it
goes
in the
by
description.
season.
I will put it in the description. That's great.
Yes, they all die in the Silver Millennium, so technically they died 4. The Scouts die 4 times.
Oh man, Loki is different. Loki, do you need to camera?
I was going by manga death. Frank Kill. I was going by the manga. By the manga, she dies once, and the Scouts die 4 times altogether if you include the Silver Millennium.
Sailor semantics.
But yeah. But she doesn't die any other time in the manga from what this is showing me.
I'm not saying anything, Loki. Don't look here.
It does have a kill count, though, how many times people kill people.
Wait, what?
It kill count. Sailor Moon's got a 20 body count.
What?
I was going through the manga. Thank you very much. I said in the manga specifically.
All right.
There's at least 3 deaths. But yeah, it's got a kill. It's got their body count. Mars has a 3. Tuxedo Mask has a 4. Galaxia has 9.
9 Scout.
Doggy's got it at 20.
Hey, interesting.
I sent you the list on Facebook, so you can.
Great. I'll put it in the
so
description.
You can see who dies in each season, and it tells you how they died. Okay. But it's like just the main, so it's not like the monster of the week kind of shit.
Oh, okay.
So it's like main people, like the villains.
All right, so Sailor Jupiter. All right, something else I posed as a question to you too is what if Jupiter was introduced with the Outer Scouts? How would that have affected the 3rd season in general? Because do you think she would have been working with Michiru and Haruka? Do you think that they would have been like able to work together as a unit, or do you think it would have been constant bickering?
I really feel like Haruka and Michiru are very much their own thing. They don't even really vibe with Pluto all that much. And especially Saturn, they're like, initially anyway, they're like, hey, let's go make sure.
And then they're a throuple
like that. Yeah.
Here we're all going to like,
I don't know. It was such a weird situation where it's just like, we're all going to like, go up and do our own thing. And now suddenly we're all co-parenting. All right.
Yeah. They got really close, and it's like, that's something I could talk about for a very long time, so I'll try not to segue us. But it's like, they're so closed off that even they're closed off to each other until they are the family unit, and then I feel like they get more open to the Inner Senshi and Usagi.
Luna.
That's how it is to me.
Luna.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And yeah, not to like fully derail the conversation into that aspect, but I do think that at least initially, if we're talking about just introducing them, like again, they're all so very much their own thing, and Haruka and Michiru are just like, no, we really don't give a shit about anyone else. But I don't think they would be working as a unit.
I think you wouldn't have gotten the Jupiter that we have. I think she would have been more bitter.
Yeah.
I think she would have been a bitter soul, especially with her and Haruka. I think they would have been constantly bickering. I just don't think we would have had the same character because she would have been so disassociated from the character that she's supposed to be, which is younger. And this motherly character, I don't think if she had been with the Outers, she would have been very motherly.
Yeah. She really
Especially
does.
if she had to deal with just, the space lesbians.
Yeah. And then Loki coming in saying one of Jupiter's dislikes is odd, which is really interesting. Being approached for her appearance, being approached for her appearance, strength, and ability to fight. So that's I don't know. I can. Do you think it's because she's approached so often?
You know what? I'm gonna say I actually really understand this being a tall girl. So like literally earlier this week, I was at the hardware store and I'm just doing my own thing, trying to buy some paint so I can go paint some more cosplays. And the guy at the register is just like, "You're really tall." And I was like, "Thanks. I'm aware of my existence on this plane as a mortal human being. I don't need you to comment on it. I really don't." And something I was looking at while researching for this episode is we got to keep in mind that Jupiter's height is 5'6", which doesn't seem super tall here, but it's a big deal in Japan. I know when I went to Japan, like it was weird. It was weird. People would just stare at me and be like, "What are you? What is going on here?" So I think that for her as a dislike, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm,
She's already being really ostracized for her body and her physicality. So like, I get that.
that makes a lot of sense. And especially, I'm
Also,
sure, like, even not even sorry,
no, you're good. I'm gonna let my dog in because I hear him crying.
go for it. No, I was just gonna say, and I'm sure, like, it was even, like, with not even getting the same uniform, like, how does that make you feel when all your friends get to wear the same thing and yet you don't
Didn't they
get
call her a Yankee?
I don't remember.
Yes.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they think she's a gangster.
That's a
And that's also in her backstory as well, that she was bullied out of her last school because people are like, "Oh, you're a fighter," and all these things, and she wound up having to change schools.
She's like, "I just wanna bake a cake."
fuck. I just wanna have friends. And it's, like, so sad 'cause I think like, it's just, like, the situation she comes in is just so sad. Like, I get it a little bit because I had trouble making friends growing up, but especially, I know remember one thing in particular was I had no friends who liked anime at all, and all my friends thought it was, like, the weirdest thing, and so, like, I remember, like, hiding the fact that I did like anime even though I was super into it, and it's one of those things where it's, like, I can it's like, you don't want that, like, you don't want your uniform to be different, you wanna be able to blend in with everybody in a way, but you don't like the negative attention, uh, I think
She does get a matching
So
uniform when they finally go to high school.
finally, finally.
Hey.
So I was while we had the break, I was skimming over some Sailor Jupiter trivia, and
Yeah,
I forgot. I forgot that her parents died in a plane crash, and
that's
that's
it.
why she's afraid. That's why she is afraid of planes and height.
Huh? Because
And
that
like
does come up, like,
they did not animate that in the 90s.
planes and pipe.
It came up very briefly in Crystal, and it was in the manga.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm like, I can name you when they were on a plane, Sailor Moon Stars, when they all got revealed their identity. She
They
doesn't
cried.
act Yeah, she
Yeah,
doesn't act nervous.
that was not addressed in the 90s. Nope.
Oh, that's so but that is an interesting fear, and that explains why she's on her own.
Mhm.
Like I said,
Yep.
I believe she's an emancipated teenager, and that's why she's able to have her own place is because, the government pays for it because she's old enough. I was like,
Oh, yeah,
"She's
right.
17." But
Well,
I'm like, "It's Japan." I mean, there's preschoolers that go on the train by themselves. But they have that in other animes where I've seen where, um, you've got middle schoolers who live on their own because their parents live out in the country, but because they go to such a good school, the parents pay for them to stay in an apartment. Like, they have their own apartments
Mm.
and shit like that. That's, like, a common theme in some of the magical girl ones. I forget who I think it was in, this isn't Magical Girl, but Maid Sama, that manga.
okay.
He's on his own because of school. And I think in Shugochara, he's on his own because he's in school. They show it quite a bit.
Leah says, yeah.
So they're either emancipated teenagers and the government pays for it, or like their parents will pay for them to live in the city and have their own like little apartment.
So like y'all were talking about earlier, there's just such a wild difference in characterization of several of the scouts, whenever you're looking at the two. And Mars is definitely the one that I thought was like, she's the most radically different. It's wild to me. I don't know. I still go back and yeah. I don't know where I was going with that.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to agree with you and just be like, no, like all of them, if we're looking anime to manga, I think Jupiter is probably the truest out of all of the inners. What do you guys think?
Other than the boy crazy bullshit they put in.
Yeah. Other than her being boy crazy, because that girl gets to work when she's ready.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. And then, all right, so Loki comes in saying Jupiter's planetary symbol stands for the Roman god's thunderbolt, or an eagle, or the Greek letter Z, Zeta, for Zeus, and an analog to Jupiter. And then the differences between the symbol used in the anime manga and the scientific symbol is that her planetary symbol is more likely to be shaped like an on the tip open 4. Okay, cool. And then Sailor Denzel coming in to elaborate on that theory. I feel like there's no way in the past life Uranus didn't train her on the planet Saturn. What do y'all think? Ooh. So
are you
Saturn.
talking canon-wise?
Yeah.
Because canon-wise, no. Because the girls were taken at a young age as princesses to be raised alongside baby Usagi. And were raised alongside of her the whole time. It says they never left the planet. They stayed by her side.
Oh,
now, if you were doing where if she was an outer scout, I could see it, but I don't see them touching Saturn simply because of the implications of what Saturn means and the death that it indicates. They wouldn't go near Saturn because Saturn should be asleep on Saturn.
I'm wondering
so they wouldn't have gone near it. But like I said, canon-wise, no, because the girls were taken from children to be raised alongside the princess. That's why you see them as little ones. The queen traps Nehelenia in the mirror.
Okay, but also tiny chibi scouts in that like scene they're adorable. They're so adorable. So precious.
Yeah, they were really precious. And they were like, wait, and you're like, what you gonna do? Nothing.
Oh honey. You're just so cute.
You're so cute. Jupiter going like static shock. I don't know, but that would be
yeah. And just see her being like see her being like a little bitty Pikachu and just being like, I can see it. I can totally see it.
Yeah, because we don't get to see that much of them in the Silver Millennium. We get a little more now that we got that peak in Eternal, and ooh, that peak is so interesting to me.
Give us the crumbs.
Just right. Keep going. Like, why you keep going? We want to hear a little more.
No, because if it's the past or the future, Daoko's like, I'm going to give you a breadcrumb because I don't feel like explaining anymore.
That's why I swear to God, if that movie comes out and there's something that was like a tiny little breadcrumb of something, I'm going to die. I'm like, because I know that's what I want. I want extra.
For Congress?
I know there's probably not. I can live in my dreams.
There's not, because I've seen glimpses of how it ends. Okay. And it literally ends like the manga. Yeah. You would have already heard something.
Yeah.
If they had given us anything.
It would have been on Tumblr.
Yeah. You crazy? We would have had a Moonie episode a lot earlier if something had actually happened.
Oh, yeah. No, we would have actually, we would have come out of hiatus for that.
Yeah. Naoko's just edging the fandom at this point. And that's the thing. I was like, are you gonna, like, Card Captors at least gave us something. Like, come on. We got Clear Card, which is about to end. But at least we got, like, a real definitive end for Card Captors. Sailor Senshi, like, we got married. Okay, explain what happens in the future. What's supposed to happen with Crystal Tokyo?
Like, how do we get there? Because we literally never see anything from wedding to Crystal Tokyo. Like, somewhere in between there, Usagi becomes queen of the universe.
And stops aging at 22. I wish.
Right.
And that queen. I'm sorry, that girl was failing high school. I'm a little worried.
She's a benevolent ruler. What's that campaign trail like?
Yeah, I'm very trail. Like,
Barely.
Look at my husband. He's a doctor. He's real cute.
Seriously, what is this woman called?
She saved the universe multiple times. That's her qualification.
Yeah. But you wonder, I would like to know what actually happened for the whole system, essentially, the entire Earth system, to almost devolve into a single kingdom.
Yeah.
Did almost everyone die during the freeze, and that she was only able to save a handful of people? Like, I want to know more. I would like to know how did it happen? And I think that's one of my little hangups with Sailor Moon, is she didn't try to explain all these pasts and future kind of things that she put in there. I was just like, yeah, it's there.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait, Loki just said, and Sailor Denzel, I'll be right back. Loki just said she'd have to reveal herself as a Senshi and Moon Princess to a whole lot of people. And I'm sorry, that'd be a hard conversation. Because I would have to be like, you just almost failed high school and you're going to be the Moon Princess? Like, the two did not relate.
Like her Earth mom, just like going up to her Earth mom and being like, hey, so all those times that like you yelled at me for failing my project, it's because I was out fighting evil by moonlight. Sorry,
Then winning that love by daylight, okay?
Meet my future husband.
They're married at the end of the series, so
it's true.
That's true. So does that mean she already told her mom she's Sailor Moon? Loki. So Loki comes in saying, hey everyone, so like nepotism at its best, I'm the princess of the but not going need answers. So Sailor Denzel says, a lot of their past lives are confusing because they had their own castles on their planet. Does that imply they lived on them at some point? Actually, yeah. Does Jupiter ever go to her castle?
I don't think she does in the manga. They mention something about it, but do they mention? I think with her little fairy, it mentions something.
Yeah. There's the image in Crystal and the manga where they have like all their princess sprite.
Yeah.
But like, that's about as close as I think we've ever come to an official them having representatives of their planet.
Yeah. Because we see her as a scout, I know, in the manga growing up. But do we ever see her in her princess dress until she's holding her fairy? I'm trying to remember.
No. You don't see any of the scouts in their princess dresses until they're holding their fairies.
Okay.
Like there was more discussion, I think of like the Animates and basically Galaxia's people and their home planets than anything else.
Actually, I think you're right. I think we learn more about other people's planets than we ever do about the Inners and how it all works.
I think like I said, they don't really explain they don't explain the past stuff. They just, hey, these were the princesses of the planets. They're the guardians. They now live on the Moon Kingdom. Here we go. That was it.
Yeah.
They guard the princess. They, I think Venus gets the most because of the Sailor V manga.
Yeah.
But that's because the Sailor V manga was written before Sailor Moon.
Sailor V manga, though, is chef's kiss.
Oh, yeah.
So,
big fan of that. It's just, I want to know what happened on the Silver Millennium so bad. I want to know how Jupiter's childhood was growing up. I want to know, did she actually flirt with boys? Like maybe she did have a thing for, not saying crazy like before, not get into danger, but like maybe she did have a senpai that she was like training with, and that would have been like a cool storyline.
I think it's interesting whether or not these girls even had kingdoms. Like they mention having kingdoms, but then you look at Uranus and Neptune, and they essentially lived alone in these kingdoms. Like they were the only people there. And then Pluto was taken from her planet to sit at the door. There's nothing on Pluto. So it's like you have these kingdoms that they speak of, but I'm like, Did they actually have kingdoms, or are these just castles? Here's a theory for you.
Okay.
Disregarding Venuses, because Sailor V, I don't think she kept a lot of the stuff from that. It's interesting that the kingdoms were empty. What if the girls are actually like Moon Kingdom residents that inherited the powers from each kingdom? Like a ceremony or something where they find the actual guardians for the planets that embody those planets. What if everybody's living on the Moon Kingdom from their planets at that point?
That would
And
make
that
a
the
lot of
castles
sense.
are just symbols for the power.
I could see that. Like, it's just an
There's my brain for
inherited,
you.
like, girl, like, if you find the woman who embodies the Senshi.
Because that's what they say for the Senshi, is that they end up being the Senshi. And that's why, like, Galaxia was able to steal the Senshi and put it into the Animamates.
That's an
That's how they
interesting
became
theory.
the Senshi. Because look at Sailor, yeah, what was it? Is it Tin Cat or whatever?
Tenyanko.
Tenyanko. She was given Sailor Mal's power.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
She got the Sailor
yeah,
crystal.
yeah.
Oh, now doesn't that make Loki, you're gonna come after me? Doesn't that make Queen Serenity such a bitch that she literally would probably find the poor outer children and be like, okay, by the way, say goodbye to all you know, all your friends, and go out on a planet all by yourself. No more people. Bye-bye.
If they're chosen, that's their duty. But that's the only thing I can think of, because they show it in like the Sailor V thing when she gets her memories back, like she used to live in the palace, but I'm like, that doesn't add up with how you did Sailor Moon. Because where are those people? You didn't really give an indicator that there was people on these other planets, only in the Silver Millennium, only on the Moon Kingdom. So I'm wondering if they were all living together.
I've been
The different people.
I've read a fantastic fan fiction.
Oh, what, all the people of the universe living on the Moon Kingdom?
Yeah, it was really good. I don't remember the title though, sadly, but it was a really good fan fiction like that.
So that's something I just thought of. I was like,
But maybe if they were trained and groomed for the roles, then they would still have made friends in training.
not necessarily.
You think they isolated them even then? Then again, no.
They isolated them with just themselves.
Yeah.
You don't need friends. You only need the Moon Princess.
You just need a picture of
Because
Serenity.
friends you can be friends with each other and defend one another, but you can't be friends with other people, because then you could possibly defend that friend over the Moon Princess.
It would explain why Uranus and Neptune fell in love if they trained together.
I mean, they were close enough to communicate, so I think they were able to communicate in their castles, weren't they?
I think so. I think the outers were. Distractions, Loki calling it distractions. Outsider distractions from the Moon Princess. I was looking perish.
Yeah. They truly are. I mean, that makes sense, though.
It does, sadly,
Because
and I don't
they were
like
so
it.
isolated. And like in the manga, it even shows once they like figure out that Usagi is the Moon Princess, they fucking worship the ground that girl walks on.
Yeah, they do.
Like the sun shines out of Usagi's in the
You're not
manga
wrong.
after that.
But she's also someone, yeah, I can see that.
They are the serfs of the Moon Kingdom. So that's my hot take that came into my head as we were talking. I'm like,
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I love thinking about the inners as like kids and actually like going to school and like having tutors. Like, that's so cute.
they would have had the same tutors that Usagi had.
You know, Naoko could write
Because then you have Mercury, who is also her tutor.
That's true.
So
Can you imagine if Naoko just suddenly came out with a prequel to Sailor Moon?
Oh my god, the
have a
Moonie fandom
lot of plot holes
it.
to tie back up. She'd have a lot of loose ends. Like she would have to like reread her own fucking manga to be put up a plot bunny that she wasn't supposed to. I would love for her to do it, but she would need like a team to be like, Naoko, no.
Right.
You've already written. No, ma'am.
Right,
No, ma'am.
But you know that there are Moonies out there who would be willing and able to be like, no, you said this on this day in this paragraph on this. there are Moonies out there. But I was gonna say, why don't you just eliminate yourself?
I'll be like, no. It was under the full moon while Mercury was in retrograde on the 5th of September of 1999 while you were in a studio in Tokyo on the left, keeps going to on the left side of the room with your arm over the right armrest.
But yeah, I would die if we ever got a prequel. That would be the end of me.
I think it would be tough because she would need people to go back and be like,
yeah,
you opened a plot bunny that makes no sense.
A sequel is a lot more likely. I just it's so sad that they stopped at stars, but I get why Naoko stopped, but can you imagine if we had gotten a 6th season?
At what point do you keep raising the stakes?
That's true.
Because they're literally destroying and recreating galaxies in that final fight.
That's fair. How much worse can they make it?
Right?
To go back in time to nothing?
They could have literally just made it a slice of life. She didn't have to keep making it.
Okay. You know what? Slice of life, I would be here for that 100%.
There would have been the political struggles and shit like that. So she would have had enemies being like,
oh yeah,
you're a child. No. She also would have run into, if she saved more of her side of the world, she would have run into a lot of misogyny.
Oh yeah.
Been like, you're just a little girl. They would have disregarded her no matter what her powers were. So it would have been interesting. So I would have liked to see something, but I believe Naoko was like, I finished. I made what I was going to make.
Yeah. You think?
I think she said she was happy with her ending that she did.
No, but wait, remember she had that random tweet that came out that she's been thinking of making a new Scout.
Probably a whole new series, though. Just because she wants to draw a Scout doesn't mean she's going to make anything.
It's out there.
I would be here for exploring other galaxy scouts.
Now that's interesting.
That would be fun.
Or Chibiusa. Because if the other scouts are supposed to be awakened, that means something happened.
True.
Because they say we're not ready to awaken yet.
Ooh, so what are they waiting for? That would have been smart to ask.
Cosmos. They arrived during Cosmos because they realized that their princess is in danger. So they awaken to meet her to go fight Cosmos and go fight Galaxia. But they go back to sleep once she goes back. So they have to be awakened for something. So something happens for Chibiusa to become the next, essentially, Sailor Moon. There's something that happens because that's how you get Sailor Cosmos. Even though I think it's stupid to say that she is Usagi and not a descendant. Okay. Because Cosmos backtracks when Usagi's already matured in her fighting level. Cosmos I couldn't do it. And Usagi's like, you stupid bitch. It's literally what? So I would like something, it'd probably be the future. And like I said, they mentioned that they're supposed to be awakened. Shut up. We're talking about the future of Sailor Moon, and it wouldn't involve the Inner Scouts.
We got sidetracked, but it's actually time to end the episode. So do we have any last thoughts on Sailor Jupiter?
Sailor Jupiter is awesome, and that's my final thought. Kick your ass and bake you a cake and look cute doing it. Yeah.
I think Sailor Jupiter is underrated in the Senshi. I think she gets looked past because she's just the tough and strong girl, but I actually think she's a really cool character. Just because she is so feminine. If you get to know her, she's so interesting, but I do think that it's she's a good example of you can't judge someone just based on their outer appearances.
I think I would have liked her more if she had, I don't know, it's just more of a central role. Kind of just, like I said, that boy craziness threw me off of her. I was like, oh, she's pretty cool. I like her being Usagi's friend because I thought it was sweet how Usagi made friends with her. I think, so here's my I have an influence from Jupiter, and it's more of the Usagi side of it. The way she befriended Jupiter is how I, as when I was younger, tried to befriend other people. Did it work all the time? No. But that episode when she befriended Jupiter, who was supposed to be big bag and scary, I was like, oh, but she's really sweet. God, she's got good food. Maybe I can make that work. And in the manga, she doesn't have as much time in the manga compared to Mars, which is interesting. Like Mars has like a little bit more, I feel like, than the even Mercury, like Mercury has, or even Venus. Because Mars has her her crows and her whole little affair thing. So I think Jupiter got she was almost just added because hey, we need our last scout kind of thing. So that's kind of sad. I think she was done an injustice, and maybe I would have felt more of a Usagi's always going to be my connection, but I think I would have felt more of a connection to her in the inners because I felt like she was almost thrown. It was almost thrown in right there and right before Venus comes, especially in the manga. That's how I feel. I think that's kind of a little bit of an injustice for her. She should have had a little more spotlight. Just like Mercury should have had a little bit more too. I think it should have been more balanced out between the scouts where Mars got the most out of the inner scouts when it comes to manga time. All right. And this brings us to the end of our show. Thank you for joining us for episode 18 of season 2. We'd like to thank our guest, the Geeky Seamstress, for joining us today for our Moonie Mayhem. So go ahead. You can go ahead and plug yourself.
Okay. So thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun getting to talk about Best Girl. You can find me all over the web as the Geeky Seamstress. There is another Geeky Seamstress in England. I'm based in Texas. So yeah, you can find me. Listen, it has been a thing for a very long time. We're just always like, hey, you got the website this time.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's hilarious. But anyway, so yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't know X, never heard of her. But yeah, all of the socials, you can find me as the Geeky Seamstress. My next event coming up, I will be guesting and judging at OniCon in Galveston, Texas next weekend. And otherwise, I'm starting to prep for 2024 events. So hopefully I'll see y'all there.
Nice.
Yes. Oh, and you're also building an amazing Sailor Galaxia that I'm a huge fan of.
Thank you. Thank you. That it has been breaking my brain a little bit. Oh, I should also mention I post tutorials and things like that for Sailor Scout costumes, including Sailor Galaxia. You can check that out on Cosmic Coteries Patreon. So I've got monthly tutorials and patterns for making all sorts of costumes, but primarily Sailor Moon costumes. And also, y'all get first hint, first announcement of this. I am starting on a Sailor Mercury costume for myself. So I'm going to be a very tall Sailor Mercury very soon.
Yes.
That's fine.
Tall scouts. We love it. All right. And then bringing it back to school.
As always, our fellow Moonies, make sure you follow us on all of our socials. You can find those on our link tree in our description. And don't forget to join us
next month.
Next month.
It's close to your birthday. It is 12:30. Sailor Moon Fashion Part 2 featuring Avina and the Fancy Ducky.
And then that's the day before my birthday. So
yeah, day before your birthday. So
gonna have some fun. Hopefully I'm working from home pretty much all of December. So fingers crossed. And you guys can find me at I haven't streamed on Twitch in a while, but I am Selene_Laufeson here on Twitch. Instagram, my cosplay is Catarata. You can also find that for Facebook. I haven't posted a lot because your girl hasn't been cosplaying because she's been too busy with not dying in work. You can also find me Witch Crafts, which is a small business my wife and I run. Oh, and I think you can find me for TikTok. I'm also Selene_Laufeson. And I usually do books, like book recommendations. And I think I've started a Instagram, which I will give to Michi.
Yes.
That's Selene.pendragon. And that's just book recommendations because I'm an avid reader and I try to recommend a lot of LGBTQIA plus books because they don't get enough love. They really do need more love. So, yeah, that's me.
All right. And then bringing myself. Hello, everybody. As always, I have been your host, Michi. You can find my personal social at MEW21_cosplay. For Eternal Mooncast, you can find older episode of the podcast coming out Moonie Mondays at 7 p.m. on YouTube until we're caught up. We appreciate any likes, comments, follows, subscribes, or however you would like to support our show in your own way. As a quick reminder, these have just been our personal opinion. We respect and celebrate all Moonie opinions here that are respectful. We are working hard on the show to be a place for Moonies to come together and discuss their theories and their love and passion for Sailor Moon. Remember, as Sailor Jupiter once said, let's protect the peace and have some cake after this. Good night.